Hi, thanks for joining me on HR Chalk Talk. I'm Brent Houchin, founder of Houchin Consulting and co-founder of Tech People Resources, also known as TPR. The HR Chalk Talk podcast is here to provide information to those in HR, those in leadership positions, and those who simply want to know more about HR best practices. Today's subject is terminating team members and how to do it respectfully. Let's start with respect. It should be at the absolute forefront of all that you do in employment. How you treat others will be heard far and wide, including how you treat someone when terminating their employment. Trust me, it's going to be heard. Terminations are tough, and if they're not, I'm a little bit worried about you. I'd worked with someone a while back who actually told me that they carry a box down the hall sometimes in order to make people worried and stay on their toes so that they don't think, or that they do think, that that box might be for them and that it's their last day. That always greatly concerned me. So, why did we get to the point of termination? What went wrong? Is it that they have repeated infractions? Is it that this situation is a pretty big deal and something to not be taking lightly? Why are we at the point of termination? Well, once we've decided that we need to terminate someone, how we get to that conclusion, or how did we get to that conclusion, is huge. Did HR tell us this is the way to go? Did upper leadership tell us that this is the way to go? Was the decision made by you through emotion? The person really made you mad, and you're done, and you're tired of them, and you're tired of having repeated discussions with them, and you just want this to be done. If so, step back from yourself for a moment, kind of listen to what your thoughts are telling you, and come to more of a rational decision. It may still be the same decision, by the way, but doing so from a rational point of view. Did you follow the policy or direction or even what the law states in regard to this? So, how do we speak to people about what went wrong? Where did it break down for them? Were there discussions, counseling, or coachings in the past? Did we talk to these folks and tell them, hey, we need this to get better? Did we spend the time showing them and talking to them about where something broke down and how to fix it? Were there warnings in the past, disciplines of some sort? Did the person being terminated understand that any future issues or concerns would result in termination? This is huge. It is so vital that when we are having discussions with people and we know, hey, the next time could result in termination, we have to tell the employee that. One of the worst things that can be done is for you to end up on the stand in a lawsuit and the other person's attorney says, how do they know that they did something wrong? And if your answer is they should have known better, or if they say to you, how do they know that the next time they were going to be terminated if this happened? And if you say they should have just known better, or I don't know, or I never told them, it's not going to be good for you. So it's important that we review the facts, that we go over those pieces with them, and that you leave your personal feelings at the door. It's tough. I had a client recently who said to me, I haven't had those discussions with them because, I wanted them to get back to work and do a good job. And when I asked them, well, then how do they know that they're doing such a bad job if you've never gotten to the real point of, if this happens again, this is what's going to occur? And they kept saying, I can't do that. And I said, in court, that will sound really bad. You have to think about, where will the meeting take place? It should never be an earshot or view of others. It needs to be private, and it needs to be appropriate, and it needs to be in a space that's respectful. When you meet with the individual, you need to have a witness. This is a key point. At any time that you terminate someone, the individual being terminated could turn around and say, you know what, I was terminated, and they yelled at me, and they screamed at me, they threw a phone across the room, and they flipped a chair over, and I was scared. A witness isn't there for just you, but the witness is there for them as well. And a witness needs to be someone who is a peer to you, someone that's above you, someone that is in another leadership position from another department that you think is trustworthy and appropriate and professional. But you need to have a witness. And you need to talk to the individual being terminated about why they're there, that person is there for both of you. And the witness needs to be taking notes about conversation that occurs in that meeting. The termination meeting should take no more than 10 minutes. A respectful conversation will not hold that individual hostage, and it should just get to the point. Not allow for argument, because really you're not going to be changing your mind based on what they tell you. So allowing for argument's sake, is just disrespectful, and it feels bad in the end because they're thinking, oh, I have a chance, and you're still going to say no. So arguments should not be held. You need to say, let me go through this document. Let me tell you what we're doing. Let me stick to the facts. I'm going to let you ask questions in just a moment, and then we're going to go ahead and conclude this meeting. But when do you get their belongings? When you get their personal belongings, that's going to be something that will sit in their mind, and it should be something that sits in yours. So you need to be able to state, okay, it's Wednesday at 4 p.m, and most people don't leave until 6. Would you like to come back later this evening? Would you like to come back this weekend? I'd be happy to do what I need. Or if you'd like, I can have everything boxed up for you. I can have a witness actually take document of what I'm collecting and what I'm putting in the box, and I can leave it at a security desk. I can mail it for you. I can do any of those things. But having a witness with you for that part as well is really, really important. So what if we aren't respectful? Who's going to know about it? A lot of people will know about it. They will go home and they will get on their Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, anything that they absolutely use, email, text, meet up with their friends after work at a bar, whatever it is that they're doing, they are going to be talking about it, and they're going to be very loud. You want them to be able to state, yeah, I was fired, but it was done respectfully. And not everyone has that ability, that emotional intelligence to do that. Of course, I understand that. But the better that you do, the better you sound, and you're the leader, and you're the one leading by example. You want to be able to definitively say, I did all of this respectfully. Is the person being terminated going to be thankful? What about when they thank you for being respectful to them? It happens. I have had people tell me, thank you for being respectful. You're right. I have been written up a couple times. You're right. We've had discussions in January, March, and May. And here we are today. I take responsibility. Not everyone does that. So please don't think that I'm giving you a magical answer to this sort of thing. But it is huge when they recognize and see that you are doing it the right way and that you're being respectful. Do we conduct an exit interview with people? I get asked that all the time, and the answer is you should not. You should not do exit interviews for anyone that is being terminated or being laid off. Their headspace, usually once they do that, is not going to be good. It's not going to be fruitful for anyone, and they may come back with information that isn't true, that isn't helpful, and just upsets more people. So what do we do after the termination to regroup and move forward as individuals? Well, we need to go talk to our upper leadership. We need to go talk to HR. We need to talk to whoever is appropriate and talk about how that meeting went and how we're moving forward. And you're going to want to get the witnesses' notes to be able to have those with the file, and also share those notes with the person that you are regrouping with. And who do we tell, or what do we announce when the person being terminated is gone? It's a tough one. In my opinion, you do have to put something out, because most likely this person worked with other people on projects, on certain things that they did in the workplace. Maybe they were who someone had to come to get advice for certain projects or groups that they handled. Or even just for someone sitting next to them should know this person isn't coming back. And if we do that respectfully, and you send out this email that says, this person is no longer with our company, you can add a salutation if you like that says, we wish you or wish them all the best. You can do that. But keeping it simple and to the point and factual without it being damaging or disrespectful is huge, because I guarantee that email is going to be shared with the person who is terminated. That email is going to be shared with others. So make sure that the announcement is appropriate and that it hits all the right respectful buttons. People will say, well, they were fired because Jim gave his notice 2 weeks and we had a party for him. And the email that went out about him was, hey, we wish Jim the best. He was such a great employee. He was here for 13 years. It's going to feel different, and people will know that. But again, it's also about doing the right thing and your documentation being appropriate. So let's review the steps I've mentioned here today. 1, determine if the termination is appropriate to conduct. Is the decision based on emotion? If it is, step back from it for a moment and breathe and determine, is this really the right way to go? 2, if moving forward, review the issues at hand and ensure that the individual had an opportunity to learn from that situation. Conversation you should have had prior should have stated, this is the issue. If this happens again, it may result in termination. A good friend of mine always says, rehabilitate before terminate. It's a great saying. Did we rehabilitate this person? Did we give them the opportunity to learn and grow before we got to the termination point? Number 3, we need to hold the meeting in a private space where others cannot see or hear the meeting. 4, bring your own witness. This person is here for both of you, both you and the person being terminated. Introduce the witness and state the reason the witness is there. 6, review the issues, the previous discussions, and remind the individual that you had told them in the last meeting that any future issues or concerns would most likely call for termination of employment. So let's stop for a minute on this one real quick and state that this may not have been a progressive issue. This may have been a really, really big issue that called for immediate termination, even though they'd never been warned before. And those things do happen. You still want to have the same respectful conversation. Okay? Number 7, explain that you have their final paycheck. Depending on the state you work in, you may have to have their final paycheck right there. And of course, talk to them about any final paperwork such as benefits or COBRA. Number 8, ask if they have any final questions and allow for them to read the termination document and sign. If they refuse to sign it, do not hold that over their head. Simply tell them that you're going to write refuse to sign and that they still get a copy. Number 9, determine when the best time would be to get their personal belongings. Remember, this also requires a witness if it's going to be right then and there or at another time. Please do not have security, by the way, at these sort of meetings. Talk about disrespectful. It feels badly. Everyone in the company is going to hear about it, that the way in which someone was terminated was they were walked out, they were put their stuff in a box, and security took care of them. Unless the situation is detrimental or could be volatile, that's a different story. Debrief with the witness or HR or whomever you should do that with afterwards. And number 11, send out an appropriate communication. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. As we close, I want to remind you that you can always contact us at Tech People Resources for learning and development opportunities on any HR-related subject, or you can always reach out to me at Houchin Consulting for HR assistance of any kind. We are here to help. Tune in next time to HR Chalk Talk as I review the subject of the Tech People Resources process. It's a great overview of what we do and how we do it pertaining to creating learning and development that is meaningful to you, your leaders, your teams, and teammates. And remember, it's about respect. Your employees will thank you. Respect is an absolute must when leading others. The more you know, the more you will succeed. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great week.